And you know, there's several vigilantes online on that I try to explain it to, and they've
Keyboard
actually
warriors. That's
well, they've called the state of Kansas, and they've demanded a DNA test. What they don't know is that they're going to end up paying for that.
oh yeah, I can imagine. Oh, it's nice to hear your voice. I am Crafty Andy.
Huh.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So overall, was MFF a good experience? Good
It was
con?
incredible. Loved it.
Good.
Matter of fact, you know, that's one of the reasons I wanted you to call, is because I wanted to tell you how well and how nice the people in charge were at MFF.
That's good to hear. Yeah,
Yeah,
cause
they actually they were the ones that notified me. They called me up to the office after they stepped me out. They stepped outside in the hall with me when we were up the dealer's den and asked to see his information. So I gave it all to him. And then, you know, obviously it's different for them, but it's okay. And then they called me up to the office later on, and you know, they called us up like at the end of the day. I was actually outside smoking a cigarette next to one of the guys that was security there. I had no idea, but we were just outside, and they called me up and said that there had been some threats on social media, and that they couldn't guarantee our safety. And they didn't have to. They even refunded the tickets for my daughter and everything, which was really wonderfully nice. They were very apologetic for the way people had acted.
wow. So just all of a sudden, you're not even aware of what's going on, and you just got a sheriff come up to you about threats that were made on social media regarding you, and
Well, the security guy, not the sheriff, but the security guy took me up there.
ah,
The sheriff was there and asked me if I was aware of all this stuff going on, and I'm like, no.
right.
And he's like, well, do you want to press charges? Because MFF called the sheriff out there because of the threats.
Ah,
So I was totally oblivious to it. Apparently, my daughter had seen some of it and she was upset, but I
yeah.
hadn't. She hadn't said anything to me. You know, you know, of course, I thought it was, you know, everything was going very great, except for the occasional snarky comment that you hear from people, but you hear that anywhere.
Right. Yeah, that's
But
something else. So, where to begin with this? So, yeah, everything seemed to be fine. Like, it doesn't seem like the majority of people complaining were necessarily at the convention itself. It seemed like it was mostly people on the outside who saw a video of
Storm, and that was a small clip it of the video. I saw that one. I finally saw that one, and that was right after I'd been accosted by two security guards for the convention center itself.
right.
Oh, he's scared. Oh, poor baby. No, he wants to get away, actually. I lied. Oh, he's scared. Oh, poor baby. No, he wants to get away, actually. I lied.
You running all the way over there?
Yeah, we classified, and my doctor and I talked about it, and we decided that a service dog would be best because he actually is trained to do some things for me.
What is he trained
And
to do?
well, like when we're like, for instance, when we go to Walmart
Mhm.
or another store with aisles, he is in front of me. He takes lead and he dips the aisles, just like in the very front of the aisle. He'll dip down each aisle, make sure that nobody jumps out at me,
Uh,
uh, because that has a tendency to create anxiety for me. He also, in a normal situation, does what he calls border, or what we call border control, which means that he can do about a 180 border for me to keep people from kind of, you know, getting into my space.
yeah. So that kind of wow. So in a couple sentences there, that kind of quells this whole talk of a fox can't be a service animal. Fox is not a service animal. Fox cannot be a service animal. How did it get classified as a service animal when a fox cannot be a service animal?
That is not a service animal!
Sorry, it can't. Foxes cannot be service animals. They just can't. They cannot be service animals. Yeah, no way legally recognized as a service animal. Foxes cannot be service animals. This fox cannot be a service animal. Foxes cannot be service animals.
Wow.
Just kind of like the same, the way it looks at it is, what we've kind of discussed with a lot of people is the fact that there's people that are severely allergic to dogs, and my last service animal was a dog, and there was at least 2 memorable occasions that he, there was some severe reactions to him.
No, wait! I'm allergic to adorableness! Aww.
Mm-hmm.
And so, on the lines of when we got Storm, we had 3 thoughts in mind: lifespan for work, size, and allergies. And that's kind of the 3 things that we went for. And my doc and I did some research, and these animals that like Storm they're literally, if you're allergic to dogs, you're not allergic to him.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where the characteristics kind of end there,
right?
As far as that goes. And that was one aspect. His size and agility was the second aspect, because there's a lot of agile, regular dogs out there, but it takes years to train them.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the other things that he does for me is, like, he will know when I am feeling extremely anxious. I tend to get somewhat aggressive when I get anxious a lot of times.
If you don't mind me, if I get too personal, let me know. Like, what is your condition that he helps out with?
It's PTSD anxiety. I used to be a first responder up in Wyoming. And there's a lot of idiots up there.
I can imagine.
Between the time I was volunteering up there for search and rescue, we dealt with a plane wreck, multiple deaths and losses, and I guess my psychic is just not built for that. And there's other issues that went along in that, and they involved abuse, but it was physical abuse from an ex.
Yeah. I mean, my husband, my first husband, he has PTSD, and yeah, I know what it's like to, he knows what it's like to be in that and having that condition and dealing with it for a lot of his life. He was in Fallujah for a while.
Oh my.
Yeah. So there's that. So let's see. Let's just go down the line here. So, all right. Well, yeah. Obviously, he falls under service dog because he actually does perform a service.
Yeah.
And you have the papers to prove it. You obviously don't have to show me it or anything like that, but you obviously have the papers to prove it. You proved it to MFF. That's why they're.
The thing is, if you really want to know the honest to God truth, when it becomes the requirement of proof, there's not a whole lot you're required to supply.
Oh yeah, I looked it up too. Yeah, they're allowed to like ask you like I think 2 things, and they're not even required to even ask you for your papers unless the animal becomes disruptive in some way. That right?
You refuse to leave or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, and Storm never was disruptive. He had an accident in a hallway because we were inside the building for so long that he hadn't been outside for a potty break. He went poop, and of course I had everything on me to take care of it.
Yeah. So That's the end of that, right?
Hmm.
The two things that kept getting thrown my way by really complete strangers and some people that I'm friends with too, are just, and this again, this is all hearsay. You know, a guy that knows a guy that knows a guy, kind of thing. That you're saying it was a Fennec fox. That didn't
Yeah.
seem that seemed kind of ridiculous to me.
Well,
The
I was
idea that you would be
the
telling
only
anyone it's a
reason I
Fennec
could think
fox.
that would come up is because I was telling there was somebody there that I was telling that my wife that my wife really wanted a Fennec fox.
That sounds more like reality to me than what I was hearing. You know,
Yeah.
ridiculous.
No, he's clearly a Russian silver. I mean, there's
Yeah.
no two ways about it.
Right, and then the other things that were getting thrown around, like foxes should not be pets, and that's a wild animal. And it takes maybe 5 minutes to do a Google search to figure out that, oh, this is a silver Russian domesticated fox.
And the reason we're able to classify him, I guess, as a dog is he gets his animals, his canine rabies, his all of his distemper, parvo, all that crap, and the heartworm and all that stuff.
Yeah,
we have a vet that takes care of him, and
it makes sense to me that they classify him as a service dog because there is no category that I can see of a service fox, horse, etc. There's emotional support animals that are classified in those categories. Like there's like I even saw like a kangaroo being classified as an emotional support animal. But service animal, it seems like there's only like a few categories: monkey, dog, and I can't remember the other ones. But
horse.
There isn't horse for that too. Okay.
Yeah, it's miniature horse.
Right.
But quite frankly, we don't have the space for a miniature horse, and my God, that's just, oh my God.
Right. You can't necessarily carry a handy bag if you make some mess in the hallway.
Yeah. No.
Let's see. And so the other thing that came around was that supposedly he was at the dance, the nightly dance, and he got excited to bit someone, and that's when you left before anything could be done. That was the other thing that was heard.
We went to the dance competition, I guess is what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And we were kind of close in line there. We walked into the door. I sat down with my daughter and her mom and everything. And then I started noticing people stacking up behind us. So I actually moved off to the corner and in the back far corner and sat there because I wanted to watch it and enjoy it. But, I'm not good with people. That's why I have it.
Right.
And so we moved off the back corner, and there's some people taking pictures of him, and there was a videographer person or whatever, yeah. And I didn't mind. I was like, that's fine. As long as they didn't bother me and what I was watching, I didn't care.
Right.
But he never bit anybody, and he never, I left a video on there showing you his biting on Facebook. He's just like any normal dog would be when playing. He uses his mouth as a hand,
right?
But he doesn't do that with people.
Yeah, people he doesn't know yet. Yeah, things like
that. Well,
that.
even people he knows, he doesn't do that with. That's the whole point of him, is because he knows it's okay for me to touch him, but when people reach down to touch him, he moves.
Right. So that makes sense when it comes to videos. I'm trying to find the other video where he's sitting there, and I noticed someone's trying to reach for him, and as you just mentioned, he's trained to do, he moves out of the way. He's only there for your attention, as he's trained to do.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Where do these things? I just can't get over some of this. Where do these things come from? Like. I heard he bit someone and then they ran off.
Oh, well.
Who makes...
The thing is if you whisper one thing to one person and it passes down the line of 100 people.
Oh, yeah. Game of telephone. Oh, yeah. Definitely. Yeah, that's kind of like my feeling. Like, I look at mobs online. I've been on the internet long enough and see this mob mentality. And I'm always on the outside because I was always an outcast growing up. And...
Believe me, I was too. I was the only person that had a dog at school with me. So a lot of this started well before, I'm quite documented person. Dr. Let's see, what is her name now? Dr. Grace Ketterman is a published psychiatrist. Prescribed me a working dog for ADHD originally.
Yeah.
And so I was one of the pilot cases, literally, you can probably look this up. I was one of the pilot cases that was able to take a dog with me to school for ADHD instead of taking medications.
Wow. So yeah,
And
it's been a big help all that time.
yeah. Do I still have ADHD? Of course. Am I an adult? Yeah. By the way, I'm 41,
Mhm.
in case you were ever wondering how old I was.
Okay. Well, I mean, that kind of... I thought it was kind of amusing that you didn't know what a rave was when I mentioned it.
Yeah,
But-
I'm not exactly a party type person. I go to
Yeah.
work, I come home, and I work in the garage. And the most partying we do is we'll go drag racing.
Right.
But we have our own enclosed setup trailer and everything to where, we park in our specific spot, and there's only 2 other people that are near us, and we know both of them very well.
Mhm. I noticed, are you a dragster? You drag racer?
Yes.
Oh, that is you in those videos then. Okay. I thought so. That's a little side note there. I just wanted to compliment you on that. It looked awesome.
It is fun. I build all of my machines.
Really? Oh, so those are all built yourself?
Yes.
Damn.
So,
Let's see. So that kind of covers almost everything. Like, if people talking about the animal looking nervous or scared or,
well, honestly, I'll be honest with you. I mean, we were both completely out of our element. With 10,000 people, we've never been around that
Right.
many people. Obviously, that was throughout the entire weekend, but we've never been around that many people, either one of us, probably in our entire lives.
were you mainly going because your daughter wanted to go?
Absolutely was going because my daughter wanted to go. Now, the other question is, am I a furry myself? And the question to that is, I have a lady by the name of Acelia Cutler
Mhm.
in California who I commissioned to make me a suit.
Ah. What species, or do you want to be you want it to be a surprise?
Well, the suit is actually going to be an exact model of a storm.
Ah. Oh, that's gonna be fantastic. I can't
Yeah,
wait to see that.
Yeah, he'll be lifelike, but he's going to be a little less approachable, as he's going to have the snarl face and all that. Before we even went to MFF, had already, well, basically he's almost totally paid for, but he's a lot of money.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. I mean, we looked into getting a Fennec fox for ourselves when we were less busy, so we can actually take care of them properly. And yeah, Fennec foxes are expensive.
$3,500.
Yeah, easily. So yeah, that.
Find one for $300. Avoid it because it's a scam.
Oh yeah.
No, but I mean the commission was expensive.
Mhm.
Storm was very expensive, but the commission was expensive for the to get the suit made.
Oh yeah. Getting a suit made is expensive too. A good suit, yeah, definitely.
And then at Furfest I found a lot of things that I just had to have for it. So there goes more money.
Right. I remember the first time I went to Comic-Con way back. By the time I was done, I spent my whole paycheck. I was just like, oh god, what did I do? What? Oh crap.
Yeah, it happens. My wife gets pissy because, well, I also commissioned the same artist to make my daughter a suit as well.
Wow. Is she going to be the same style of fox, or she got her own character?
She is her own character. She had her head with her this year.
Mhm.
Desley is her name. She's I don't know what she is quite yet, but
Gotcha.
they're working on her.
Well, that's actually great. I'm actually relieved to hear that everything went well overall. This is more of a, it's for the overall video I'm making. This is kind of like a a first topic I'm covering. It's kind of grown a little bit, talking to you, and I guess overall what this will probably do is just end up quelling any drama or bullshit from growing out of control.
You know, I tried to do that with as best I could, because a lot of this stuff I don't understand myself, as far as, you know, all the little
lingo,
the minute details or whatever about Storm. All I know is, hey, here's what we've done.
Yeah.
You know, this is what he is, this is what he does. And is he a fox? Yes. Is he a dog? Well, yes, that too.
Right.
You know, so it's kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of it's a gray area is what it is.
Yeah.
And you know, there's several vigilantes online on that I try to explain it to, and they're
keyboard warriors. That's
well, they've called the state of Kansas, and they've demanded a DNA test. What they don't know is that they're going to end up paying for that.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. They're going to be so disappointed.
Yeah, well, the fact of the matter is my neighbors have been in a feud with me anyway already.
No kidding.
And not about Storm, just about the way I keep my house, because we've got like 24-wheelers and a Ferrari in the driveway and a bunch of other shit. And we don't live in the most expensive part of town.
Right.
You know, I work really hard, and what I do is I work on exotic cars for a living. And so they get all butthurt and all that. And so they were complaining to the city about that over and over again. And then finally they decided to call out Storm to the Game and Wildlife.
No kidding.
So Game and Wildlife's already been out here, looked at him, laughed, and walked away.
Yeah. And it's and outside it's a little humorous, but at the same time it's stressful to you. It's an inconvenience. It's humorous in the fact that it's so stupid that people can't look beyond the surface and find out things for themselves. That's what I'm getting at about that comment.
Well,
really.
And I did get some threats on and I couldn't find them though, but early on Instagram, or not Instagram, but what's the other one?
Twitter.
I think it's Twitter. The bird.
Yeah, Twitter.
Yeah, I just got that account like a week, basically 2 days after Furfest.
Sure.
Because I was trying to find all these threats.
Yeah.
But anyway, somebody said, well, all somebody's got to do is say they bit that the dog bit them, and then they're gonna take him from you.
Oh, well, that probably says a lot about certain comment that I heard. Okay.
And then there's a lady, and I believe it's probably the same lady I saw in your video that was on Twitter.
Oh yeah, that wasn't my video. That was her video that she posted herself. So I'm like, well, I'm going to take that and see how people react to that.
The entire security staff saw my service animal in here today. He's a dog.
Yes.
And if I were to walk past that fox with my dog's in danger. My dog's in danger.
Danger! High voltage!
Because it amazes me when people record themselves acting like that, thinking that they're going to be seen as like some sort of hero, or they're going to catch a scandal going on.
The difference is I was polite, respectful, and helpful.
Yeah.
And he was crude, complaining, and just demanding.
Honestly, will you say on film that that's a fox or a dog?
I don't think I need to say anything on film. And I actually request that you turn that off, please.
I mean,
and if you don't want to turn it off, then this conversation's over.
There's shit running around saying that I threatened to sue them and this, that, and the other. Like, I haven't threatened to sue anybody.
No. I mean, if they were to abide by her demands and kick you out, that would make things liable for a lawsuit. Whether you wanted to go through with it or not, they could.
Yeah, either way, I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is what it is, and I guess I'm a pretty easygoing guy for the most part.
Oh yeah.
Which is why I'm able. I take anti-anxiety medicine on a daily basis, along with antidepressants as well. I don't mind sharing the information because I want people to, I don't care if they think I'm a douche.
Right. You're a busy
I'm
guy. You got
41
shit to
years
do. You got your shit together. You know?
41 years old. You can think I'm a douche if you want. I don't care. I'll be a douche at 80. I thought people thought I was a douche when I was 16. I don't care.
Right. And yeah, really, on the other side too, it's what gets people a little more understanding. Like,
A lot of people thought that I brought him for attention seeking too. And
yeah, I was gonna get into that next.
Attention? In which case it fucking worked. You've got a lot of attention, and I hope you enjoy it, because most of it's fucking negative.
quite honestly, that was horrible. I even, when we were talking upstairs to the staff about it, I was like, he was a great idea when we got him, but hindsight being 2020, he draws way too much attention.
Right, after you said everything, like, yeah, I think bringing him for attention would be the last thing on your mind. Yeah, exactly. I'm not surprised that everything we just talked about is turned out the way it was. I had a feeling that when it comes to rumors, conjectures, and mob mentality online, it usually ends up being a bunch of hoopla, just a bunch of made-up stuff. And like the game of telephone, guy says one thing to the guy, and it just builds up from there. And who knows where it stops. And
the only thing he did do that I noticed, period, is that somebody was sitting down eating a delicious bowl of food, and he walked up and sniffed him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's something that told me, and the reason I remember that is because that was something that I told myself, okay, that's some training we need to work on.
Right.
Because we'll go to a grocery store, he's fine. He doesn't try to take food off the shelves.
Mm-hmm.
But, we'll go to a restaurant, he lays under the table, he's fine. But there was a bowl of food, he sniffed the guy, and he showed interest, but I said, I usually have a clicker with me, but I didn't have my clicker, so I clicked with my mouth, and I said, "Idi sida," which is in Russian means "come on" or "come here."
Huh.
And
they train him with Russian commands?
Yes.
Huh.
Yeah, it usually works out best because the problem I had noticed, and this was also suggested by the gentleman that helped me work with training, is that you train him in a different language so that he doesn't get confused by other people talking.
Yeah, exactly. I was just thinking that. That makes perfect sense.
So, and that's what I do and what I did. He knows some English language too, like load up, simple stuff like that, because that's when we're getting into the vehicle to go.
I forgot if you mentioned it. How many years have you had him?
I've had him for coming up in April will be 3 years, and he's been working for 1.5 years.
You had him since he was a kid? Or a
I
pup?
had him since he was actually 4 weeks old.
Wow. And then when did training start with him?
At 4 weeks and 2 days.
I imagine, yeah. I don't know what is involved in training because I'm not an animal expert, obviously. But
well, actually, it's a daily. When people say they have a trained animal, well, training is never always done. It's an ongoing process throughout the life of the animal. They're trained to an extent, but they hone their skills over the years with their handler or their owner.
Yeah.
And I imagine within the next 3 or 4 years that he will probably, right now, our method of pickup is I will pull forward on his leash. He pulls back and stretches his body so I can scoop up underneath him and pick him up. Well, a lot of people see that as like I was picking him up by his leash. So, we're working on a different method. We're going to start working on a different method to where I'll pet and then pick up.
Gotcha. So it doesn't look as traumatic to other people.
Well, yeah, I'll start scratching him because he's also one of the things that he does. He does a lot of things, and I apologize. I mean, there are just a lot of things that he's trained to do. When I pet him, he will freeze.
Gotcha.
And he will stop and freeze, and I will be able to just do whatever pet him or whatever. And then, this is why I decided that this is how we were going to do it, is instead of doing what we normally do, which is comfortable for him, because it gives him a stability when I scoop him up. That way he feels stable all the time.
Right.
But, I'm working with him, and I've been working with him ever since Furfest, to just pet and just because I always pick him up with one arm. And we're working on that to get his balance down properly so he feels comfortable the same way.
So if anyone were to want to learn more about service animals, even when it comes to your case, is there anyone or any place, like website or anything you could direct people to, or I could direct people to, or organization, I should say?
I'm not real sure, honestly.
Okay.
I just went with my shrink, and I've kind of been, in the beginning when I first started having an animal, my parents took care of it all, and
yeah,
and they always jack them when they reach retirement, which sucks. They always keep them, and so right now my last dog is at my parents' house, and
yeah,
I contend that they stole him. But other than that, I mean, I haven't been really active in like a community outreach type of informational program or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's understandable. You got your career going on with the exotic cars and other things, doing racing and things like that. I know there's a lot involved in that. So
yeah, I mean, those are what I do, and that's who I am. The whole furry community was brought about because of my daughter, and it's something I wanted to understand about her. And I don't know if I told you it or not, but that was the first meeting I'd had with her in 15 years.
Wow. And
so the meeting itself was wonderful, and getting to know her again was great. But the underlying was frustrating or upsetting to her and I, but it is what it is.
Yeah. And I can imagine things will get better too as things quell down and people start thinking.
I will say I am planning on going to Furfest next year. However, I thinking, and I've been talking to my wife about it, being enclosed into a suit, unapproachable, might make me feel comfortable enough to be in public without storm. And we were kind of planning on, because we didn't want the hoopla and drama and the stress caused to Furfest,
right,
the individuals, that my wife was going to come with me this next upcoming year. And she's not a very nice person, but she's very protective. I'll put it that way. She's very protective. And she herself is from Russia.
Oh. No kidding.
Yes, she knows what it's like to be persecuted because she was run out of her homeland for being Jewish.
No kidding. Wow.
Yes. And she came over here under asylum.
How long ago was that?
That was when she was 12.
I did not know that there was that much persecution going on with Jewish people in Russia.
Oh, God, yes. Especially since her mother is not Jewish.
Huh.
It's hated over there. Their mailbox was set on fire. Their door was burned. There was threats of kidnapping. So when people start attacking me or something like that, she gets really pissy really quick.
I can imagine. And wow.
This is a woman that stood in the breadlines when she was a child. I don't know if you actually ever read the history of Russia with the fall of the Soviet Union.
Oh yeah, there was soup lines like around blocks, if I remember
Yeah.
right. Yeah, that went on for a while.
Days. You stand in line the entire day for a loaf of bread.
Oh yeah.
And to go from job to job, her father had to have a visa and a passport and everything to go from place to place in just a short distance area.
Damn.
So they know all about that. She knows all about that kind of stuff. And she comes from a different life than any of us do.
Yeah, don't mess with her. Good way to put it.
It's not that she's a violent person.
No,
but she's
no.
very vocal.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, you go through that and you see things like this of people spreading crap online and making threats. I can only imagine it puts her back in that feeling. I can only imagine how I would react if, you know, I went through some similar things like that and then started seeing that again myself, no matter what it was or who it was, someone I know.
Yeah, it's you know, and the biggest thing is I'm actually a pretty decent person. I'm the kind of guy that'll pull over and help somebody on the side of the road. I'm the last person to judge somebody.
Yeah.
So,
well, you know, it'd be nice to see you at MFF next year. Maybe we can get a beer or something. I don't know.
Well, I can't drink because of my medicine, but
fair enough.
I'll be happy to have a Dr. Pepper with you. If you want to drink a beer, I'll get you a beer. I don't care. But I just don't drink because I can't.
Yeah, it makes sense. I understand. I have plenty of friends that can't drink, so. Oh man.
If there's any other questions you ever have, let me know. And one thing is that I can tell you is that if you know anybody that has any issues, because I know that in the furry fandom, I've already observed it. A lot of the reason people are attracted to the furry fandom is because they have a social anxiety and because they have other issues. It's not just for fun, but it's a way to an outlet for them.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for a lot of people it is. Yeah, they've grown up in various situations that put them in a lot of stress or you know, being outcasted by the peers or growing up or being weird and not thinking they're ever going to find anyone that understands them, and all of a sudden here they are at the tender age of 19, 20 years old now, and now they found their group that's more accepting to them than their peers have ever been, or their family even.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and those people, you know, if there's any of those people that are ever in housing, like apartments and stuff like that don't allow pets, they simply have to get a note or a letter from their psychiatrist stating that it would benefit their psychological condition to have an animal. And then they'll be able to have an animal even in a place that doesn't allow them to live with an animal. But not only that, they can't charge them any extra for that animal. Right,
because it's needed. It's not necessarily you can't survive without them, but it's you. It's hard to put it because you'd be a hell of a lot better off having a service animal to help with your psychological condition, things of that nature.
Well, there's only two places I don't go that I don't take Storm with me, and one of that's I'll take. I guess that I don't take him with me every time. One of that is my work.
Yeah.
And the other one, I take him a lot of times, especially if I wake up and I'm already having a bad day. And then the other one is the gas station up the street. Because the people there, and I live in a small town.
Yeah.
The people there know and understand to just give me some space, and I get in, get out, and done, you know?
Yeah. I can relate to that. It seems like I'm a lot more sociable now over the years, but it's hard for me to be actively social. Like I almost talk to no one online because I'm usually because I'm busy, but
Sure.
I always like, I'm more of a interacting in person kind of guy. Even when I post that video on my Facebook page, I get anxiety in myself. Like, I'm like, how are people going to react to this? Are they gonna come at me? Are they gonna respond poorly? Are they gonna see this how I see it? And that kind of, it can turn, makes my stomach knot up a little bit, and I just kind of put my head down and run right through it sometimes. And
Yeah, I know the feeling. It's a lot of times what I do with Storm is I'll literally put my head right in him, right in his fur, and we will just go. Seriously.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons he doesn't wear a vest, is because I pick him up and I bury my face in him too. That's kind of like the point where I am at a point where I can't handle anything more. And I don't know if you've done any like research or anything like that, but a lot of comforting things can be like smells.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a distinct smell, and it helps comfort me as well as comfort and calm me down.
Yeah.
So, and that's one of the things that's why he doesn't wear an actual vest.
Mm-hmm.
But that, and because his damn hair, his poofy hair freaking gets all kinds of knotted up under a vest.
Yeah, I can imagine. Also, I noticed it seems like he sheds everywhere sometimes, because he's a fox. Yeah.
It's been an interesting winter here, because it got really cold for a little bit, and he grew in his winter coat, and then it got warm. And he was shedding his undercoat when we came up there, and now it's pretty much shed, and he'll grow it back here probably within the next month or so. So yeah, he was shedding like crazy that weekend. It was horrible.
All right. Well, I think that pretty much covers anything. If anything comes to mind, or if I come across anything else, I'll let you know that I think it might be important. But I think that sheds a lot of light on a lot of rumors and misconceptions and anything else that people might have.
There was a video floating around where he was pulling me through the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't use. He's. There was the stupid the lady that has the service dog or whatever that was complaining.
Right.
Well, she was arguing with me. Well, they'll grab the leash and pull. I'm like, well, he's smart enough to pull hard but not choke himself.
She came at you about this?
Yeah.
Oh,
online.
Online. Okay. She didn't do it in person, huh?
Oh, no. Nobody. No, that's just it. I was oblivious. The only thing I heard were a few comments, take him home, and this, that, and the other from a few people, and
yeah, he
looked scared, and I'm like, well, both of us are a little nervous. What do you expect?
Yeah, and if you look at a lot of foxes online too, like if you look at videos, a lot of them look the way that Storm does most of the time, even when they're like happy and bouncy and everything, or just standing around. They usually pant like that. What most
people don't understand is when he's happy, he's got his mouth open and panting.
Yeah, that's what foxes do.
Yeah, most people associate that with the dog being nervous.
Yeah.
And that's what he does. It's when he's got his mouth drawn tight, and and he's got his ears back, then there's an issue.
Right.
Because now he's uncomfortable. He's not up and alert looking for anything. He's ready to get out of the situation. He's done listening. He's done looking. He's ready to go.
Right.
And he didn't do that. He did that. I was actually quite impressed with how well he worked with all of the different things that we've never dealt with before.
Oh, yeah.
The dance competition, they were like, oh, don't take him in there because it's loud in there. It's bad for him. It's going to hurt him. I'm like, he's used to listening to a 2,000 horsepower dragster fire up.
Yeah, right. So those vehicles, I can imagine. some
They're
of the
not
vehicles on your
that
property.
quiet. Does he like them? Not really. Does he tolerate them? Yeah. It gotten to the point where he just kind of, meh, okay.
Right.
But, you know, and I told people there at the place, I mean, this is the first time we've ever been here, so of course he's a little nervous.
Yeah. And you know he'll be only more used to crowds and handle them even better than he's already have later down the road here.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, we've been to other places with crowds. We've been to World Wheels multiple times. I've showed cars there. I've been there as a spectator as well. We've done Renaissance Festival. I don't know if you know what those are, but
oh yeah, Renaissance. Oh yeah, we go to those all the time if we can.
yeah, most of the staff at our Renaissance Festival knows us and are very accommodating to us. Because you always get the occasional drunk asshole that, you know, like, oh boy, we were at Renaissance Festival 2 years ago, and this lady's like, oh, can I pet your dog or your fox? It's so pretty, blah, blah, blah. My wife was like, oh, everywhere we go, we get inundated with, oh, can I do this? Can I do that?
Yeah.
And we've kind of gotten to the point where you can take a picture, but we're moving, so you'll have to do it while we're moving.
Right.
You know, and other than that, it's, of course, you can't touch him because usually I try to explain why instead of just saying no because I don't want to be rude.
Yeah.
But, you know.
It's gotten to the point where you got sick of explaining it over and over again.
When you do it 1,000 times in a day, it's like, no, I don't let anybody touch him. Sorry. You know.
Almost wanted to carry a sign around that you could just whip out and be like, here, read the sign.
My wife has literally thought about making shirts that say, no, you can't touch him. He is working. Don't ask.
Put a nice neon sign, yeah, right on the
Oh,
shirt.
no, my wife's serious about it too. She's serious about making those. But, you know, I mean, if I had it all to do over again, would I have gone with a standard dog? Yes. Because the one drawback to him is that he draws too much attention.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I wish it would.
Well,
wish things would be better than that. Wish people would be better than that. But
it's not necessarily about people. It's just natural instincts to be curious, and
yeah.
I respect that.
Yeah, I know it's something you don't see every day. Yeah, especially as a service dog.
Yeah, so you know, of course, I have to be understanding and respect that idea. And my wife is just a little more short than I am about it. But no, I mean, other than that, that's where he's at, and that's what we do. And ultimately, they have caused us a little grief, and probably going to cause us a little bit more grief because now he has to have his blood drawn. We're assuming because I have a friend that's a police officer in town here, and he's told us that that these people have contacted the state of Kansas to complain to the Game and Fish Wildlife
to the point where they're going to take a DNA test to prove that he's a fox.
No, to prove that he's not a red or a gray fox, I think is what they are.
Okay. So so they're calling a DNA test based on these complaints to the Wildlife Commission in Kansas.
Yeah, and the first time they came out, they'd already talked to the federal guys, and the federal guys just said, "Well, it can't be a red and it can't be a gray."
So wait, okay, so I'm trying to understand this. So the idea is to get the DNA test to is there a certain animal that you can't have in the state of Kansas that they're trying to prove it is or is not?
Yeah, you can't have a red fox and you can't have a gray fox in Kansas.
Okay, so the DNA is to clear up both those cases.
Yeah, which only leaves the silver Russian foxes and the Fennec foxes.
Gotcha.
We've actually got a breeder somewhere in Kansas that breeds Fennecs.
That's kind of weird. They accept Fennecs and specifically the silver Russian fox, but not red foxes or gray foxes.
They do that because of the rabies vaccination.
Oh.
Because there's even though in Europe they have proven in the red fox population that just bait vaccination, meaning edible rabies vaccination,
Mm-hmm.
has eradicated the rabies in the in their entire population.
Gotcha.
And that it does work. However, you know, the USDA, there's no money in it for them, so why would they ever do any testing and programming?
Yeah.
But these guys, the only thing that we test for every year on him is actually we test every 4 months or something, is for a specific parasite, and that's it's a specific worm type parasite that's common in the north. They can be carriers of that, but then again, so can a rabbit, so can any animal.
Yeah.
But they've been known, and the problem is they're a zoological parasite. So if they get, like, say we were to get that parasite in us, instead of just maturing and turning into some tapeworm of some sort, they kind of form clusters and balls in your guts.
Oh, pinworms.
Yeah, I don't know if it's pinworms or what it is, but
they're like tiny little worms that can cause people irritation and itching and stuff in their intestines.
Yeah, whatever kind of worm it is I mean, we have them tested for that like every 3 months, although there's never been a documented case in Kansas.
Right.
But, you know, just because of an abundance of safety, we do that.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Well, I think that kind of wraps things up.
Cool. I'm glad I could, you know, and I mean, I'm really willing to literally explain to anybody. I don't care, you know, as long as, you know, I mean, I'm just trying to, as long as they're not acting like some kind of a know-it-all.
Right. They come at you like, what did you bring the fox for at the MFF convention? Swear to me!
Well, I don't care if they come at me like that. I'd be like, well, he was there for me, not for you.
Yeah, I work at a call center, so I've dealt with that before too, where people come on there immediately yelling. It's like, well, ma'am, I can help you today. What is your account number? You know? Just gotta kill him with kindness.
Yeah, matter of fact, exactly what you gotta
Just
do.
listen to that song.
What, kill him?
There's a song called Kill Him with Kindness.
That's my wife, Irina.
Oh, hi, Irina.
Hello. I was listening to a song called Kill Him with Kindness.
Nice to meet you.
Hello. Cheese or pepperoni?
Pepperoni, please. But yeah, she's getting pizza ready for the kids. We're having pizza night tonight.
Okay, well, I'll let you go, man. Thank you for taking the call, and thank you for calling me up, and thank you for the conversation. And
absolutely. If you have any more questions, feel free to call me anytime.
certainly. Have a nice night.
Yeah, you too.